There are 3 problems left on the page for independent practice. Let's take a closer look at those. We are doing cotangent. So I need to make sure that I definitely have my x and y axis. Cotangent does not have amplitude, so we're not going to look for amplitude, but we do need to find our A, which is 1, and our B, which is 4. And to be able to graph this, the first thing we look for is our period, and our period is the equation pi all over the absolute value of B, and my B is 4, so it says pi all over 4. This is my period. Now we're going to look for our intercept. Our intercept is also an equation. It's the equation pi all over 2b 0, where b is 4. So this is pi 8 0 is my intercept. And our last point that we need to find is our asymptotes. Our asymptotes are also equations. The first one is x equals 0. The second one is x equals pi all over the absolute value of b, which we already know to be pi fourths. So let's go ahead and take a look at these. I need to scale my x-axis, so I will know where to put these things. So we're going to scale it in terms of pi 8, skipping 2 squares every time. So my asymptotes. My asymptotes are the do not cross lines. We get really close, we just never actually touch it or cross it. So 0 is my first one, 0 is right here. Pi fourths is my second one, it is right here. Every 4 squares is another asymptote, so I have another asymptote right here as well. So I'll be able to graph 2 full periods. My intercept is at the coordinate point pi 8 0, which happens to land right here, right in the middle of my 2 asymptotes, which means right in the middle of these 2 asymptotes is the second x-intercept. Now I just need to find where between these guys would I put my next, and those are called the halfway points. So let's go ahead and look for our halfway points, and those are also equations. So here's equation number 1. And here is equation number 2. B is 4, 8 is 1. So my first one is pi 16 1. My second one is 3 pi 16 negative 1. So let's go ahead and graph these halfway points. So pi 16, oh, I haven't scaled my y-axis yet. So let's go ahead and scale our y-axis. So pi 16 1. 3 pi 16 negative 1. So here is my first cotangent, and then replicating it on the other period, here is my second cotangent period. So I have 2 periods that I was actually able to graph. Now I need to describe my transformation, and that is using your A and your B. My A is 1, the B was 4. A does vertical. If the vertical is 1, that meant there was no vertical stretch or shrink. B is 4. B does horizontal. And remember, horizontals are supposed to be the reciprocals. So this isn't 4. This is actually 1/4. And since that is smaller than 1, this is going to be a shrink. So it's shrinking by 1. Our next problem, we're being asked to graph cotangent. So here is my x and y axis. Cotangent does not have amplitude. So we're not going to find amplitude, but we do need to find A, and we do need to find B, so that we can then look for our period. Period is the equation pi all over the absolute value of b. B is a 1/2, so this is pi all over the absolute value of 1/2, which gives me a 2 pi. So my period is 2 pi. Now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to look for my intercept. Intercept is also an equation. It's equation pi all over 2b 0, where b is a 1/2. So this simplifies down to pi 0. This is my intercept. And the last thing I want to find in this first round is my asymptotes. X equals 0 is asymptote number 1. Asymptote number 2 is the equation pi all over the absolute value b, which I know to be 2 pi. So I need to scale my x-axis. I'm going to go ahead and scale my x-axis by pi's. So my asymptotes are at 0 and 2 pi. So here is my 0. And here is my 2 pi, which meant negative 2 pi also had an asymptote. My intercept is at pi 0, which is right in the middle of the 2 asymptotes. So here is x-intercept 1, and here's x-intercept 2. So these are my 2 x-intercepts. Now I just need to find where is the middle point so I can find where my cotangent goes. And those are the halfway points. And those are equations. So here's equation number 1. And here is equation number 2, where A is 2 and B is a 1/2. So there's equation 1. And there is point 2. So graphing these, I have pi half, oh, I haven't scaled my y-axis yet. So let's go ahead and scale our y-axis. Okay, pi halves 2, 3 pi halves negative 2. So here is my first cotangent, making his partner look the same. Here is my second cotangent, period. Now my A and my B are going to tell me my transformations. A is 2, B is a 1/2. A always does your vertical, and since this is bigger than 1, this is going to be a stretch. And B always does your horizontal, and horizontal does your reciprocal. So this is 2, which meant it's also a stretch. Our last problem. We're asked to graph cotangent. So I need to be able to see my x and y axis so I can graph this. Cotangent does not have an amplitude, so we're not going to find amplitude, but we do need to find A and we do need to find B, and we're going to use these to find our period. Our period is the equation pi all over the absolute value of B. B is 3, so my period is pi thirds. Finding my intercept is pi all over 2b0. B is a 3, so my intercept is pi 6/0. And now I need to look for my asymptotes. I have 2 equations. X equals 0 is equation number 1. X equals pi all over the absolute value b, which is pi thirds, is asymptote number 2. So let's scale our x-axis. I want to see pi thirds and pi sixths. So we're going to go ahead and scale these. So I have my pi thirds, my pi thirds. So let's see. I have an asymptote at 0. So here is my 0. Another asymptote at pi thirds. That was 3 squares, so 3 more squares would be my other asymptote as well. My intercept is right here at pi 6/0, and that is right in the middle, which is right here. And so it's right in the middle again, which is right here. And that was 1.5. So 1.5, the other asymptote, the other intercept would be there. 1.5, we would actually have another intercept here. So the way we scaled it is going to kind of show us 4 periods. So now let's go ahead and find our halfway points. So we have 2 equations. Equation 1, equation 2. B is 3, A is a 1/2. There's equation 1. And here's halfway point number 2. So if this is pi 6, halfway between the asymptote and the pi 6 is going to be the pi 12ths. So pi 12ths is about here. We need a y to be counted. So let's go ahead and count our y's. So we're pi 12ths 1/2. And we are 3 pi 12ths negative 1/2. So here is our first cotangent function. And this is just going to repeat all the way through. So we have the other half of our tangent, our other tangent, and our other tangent. So I can see 4 whole periods. Now let's go ahead and look at A, which is a 1/2, and B, which is a 3. A always does our vertical, so this is a vertical shrink because it is smaller than 1. A always does our horizontal, and you're supposed to take the reciprocal of this. So that's actually a 1/3, which meant we are shrinking again. So this is shrink by a 1/3.